Hello and welcome to the Unlucky Frog Gaming Podcast. You are joined by your two usual hosts. We've got Tom Mannering.
Hello.
And myself, Josh Hartley. How are we doing this week, Tom?
I'm good. Week overall, I'm decent. I'm tired right now, so if you can hear that in my voice, gentle listener, I apologise.
But I'm tired too.
All right, we'll get to you. This is my time.
All right, okay. I'm engaging you in conversation, Tom.
You're interrupting me. It's a
You're
different.
my friend. I thought you were my friend.
No, just co-worker.
Wow. Okay. Right. Tell me why you're tired, then, you arsehole.
No, I don't want to. No, I've just been busy.
End episode.
Yeah, that's it. Roll credit. No, it's been a busy week. Lot on, both professionally and personally.
Mm-hmm.
Had a good few games this week. I actually played all games this week. I haven't run a game since Saturday night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey.
A new one for me.
Get you.
I'll go Saturday to Saturday, not GMing a single game. I played.
That's probably been the longest in your adult life.
It's certainly been the longest for a while. No, I played. What did I play? We started a new Star Wars game using the Saga edition. So one of my friends is running that just to replace my. You haven't got your hand up.
Yeah, no. I was going to wait for you to finish.
Okay.
Sorry, that was confusing. I've confused things.
You have.
Sorry, listener. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I was like, why has he got his hand up? Is something wrong?
As you were.
Yeah, no, we're very professional here. The height of professionalism.
Of course.
I was playing Star Wars on Tuesday night, and we did character gem. We did session 0. I'm playing a frontliner as well, so I'm really going out of my usual comfort zone. So yeah, I'm playing a melee soldier, and we did a little sort of mini intro session, literally about an hour, just to kind of introduce the characters. So that was really fun. And then last night I played some Pathfinder First Edition as well, and spent the entire game paralysed, just watching everyone else play.
Nice.
Yeah. First saving throw of the game, failed it. You're paralysed for 4 minutes, and the entire game was a combat. So
yeah,
you
got to do nothing.
Got to do that. I got to join in on the last combat. We had 2 combats, and I joined it for the very last one. And I summoned a Wolverine that did most of the work for me.
Nice.
That was my week. How about you?
Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine. Not Wolverine.
No, I get that Wolverines are a creature. Although I can't remember when I learned that Wolverines were actually a creature and it wasn't like a derivative of wolf that this superhero had named himself.
Yeah, I learned that at quite a young age because I was a fan of Wolverine, and we do have a bit of a running joke in the Pathfinder game I played last night when I summon a Wolverine that I am summoning Hugh Jackman to basically just go at them. But no, it was a Wolverine. What about you? How are you? How have you been?
Yeah, I'm alright. I did have a question. That's why I had my hand up.
Okay.
But I was waiting for you to finish.
Don't put your hand up. It's weird.
To be fair, I was just resting it on the side of my head like this, and you interpreted it as me having my hand up.
You rested it in like a prominent manner, though. It was just, like presenting it.
Do you know? This is bad audio content. We're just going to skip past this. The Star Wars Saga system then, so this is different. Is this different to the Fantasy Flight one that we're playing through? Right.
Yeah, so this is it's an older system. So Star Wars has had a number of role-playing systems. They had a well-known D6 system that is very beloved by the RPG community and Star Wars fans. I hate it. They had basically a reskin of D&D 3rd edition as well. They had that was done by Wizards of the Coast as well. They then had a reskin of D&D 3.5. And then they had Star Wars Saga, which came out afterwards and was a very short running system. It didn't it wasn't around for very long, but in the very brief window it came out, had a lot of books published for it. It kind of takes a lot from 3rd edition D&D, but they tried to strip out a lot of the complexities and things. It's actually got a bit more in common with D&D 4th edition. It's this weird amalgamation of 3rd edition and 4th edition D&D in Star Wars form. But it's a well-loved system.
Was this like when 4th edition was out, or did this come out before 4th edition and maybe they got some of the ideas from that, or?
I think it came out first. I'm 90% sure it came out first. I think 4th edition did come out while Saga was still being published, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was a degree of sort of, systems being tested and things, but 4th edition was a big deviation from 3rd edition. That's why it was, it was despised so much by the old guard.
Yes.
And understandably so, because it was crap. But, yeah, Saga does a good job of moving away from 3rd edition, but still having its roots in it, and simplifying a lot of things. Like, you don't have skill ranks. You're either trained in a skill or you're not, which is a lot simpler. You're not juggling as many numbers and micromanaging your character to the same extent, which is something I've come to appreciate a little more in recent years, because it's something that 5th edition D&D does.
Yeah.
Which is a really nice thing. And I do like numbers, and I have a fondness for 1st edition Pathfinder for that reason.
This is now a maths podcast.
But I do also appreciate...
What is your favourite number, Tom?
7.
Well, that was really quick. That's genuine.
I know my favourite number. Like, I have a very clear sense of self. My favourite number is 7. My favourite colour is purple. All these things I can just... You've got to know yourself.
Why 7? Just because it's lucky?
I just like it as a number. I think it's like, it's not a number that like you can easily get by multiplying the lower numbers.
Yeah, it's a prime number.
Yeah, it's prime. It's low, but it's not too low. Like,
so like even though why am I entertaining this? Well, so even though 5 is another prime number. But because it's lower than 7, you're a bit like, ugh.
And it's just 5's such a like generic-y number, because it's you have like 5, 10, 15, 20.
Is it a bit basic?
Yeah, it's like it's a basic. Whereas 7.
Do you think 5 has like live, laugh, love?
Yeah,
written
pretty
somewhere
much.
in his house.
Yeah, it's got the Karen hairstyle. It's really basic. But like 7's cool as well, because I always remember 7 being like the first times table that I struggled with as well. Like as a kid. I remember like I smashed out 1 to 6, and then they throw 7 in there.
I smashed my 1 to 6 times table. No, to be fair, 7 is a tricky one.
Yeah,
I think it's supposed to be like for little kids anyway. Because I remember it being difficult. I think it's the hardest one to get your head around.
Like if you drop on someone, what's 6 times 7? Most people will pause before they
42.
answer. Yeah, but you work with numbers. Like that's literally your job. I've got
to be good at something, man.
Yeah, I'm not taking that away. I mean, you didn't have to humble brag on the podcast, but that's fine. But yeah, it's a good. Anyway, we're not a numbers podcast. Let's focus.
Yeah, sorry, that's my fault. Listener, I'm sorry.
You stop doing your ASMR bit as well.
Rule of 3, I can do it one more time before it stops being funny.
Is that so? Okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
While we're talking about numbers, got a segue here actually from that, just by sheer coincidence.
Oh.
Bit of news that dropped. And I don't know if you're aware of this or not. It's not directly gaming related, but it relates in a tangential way to the gaming community in general. Have you heard that Twitch had their details leaked?
I did. I didn't read the article, I must admit, but I did see the headline.
Yeah,
that they've been subject to a leak.
Yeah, so they got hacked, and basically the entire Twitch source code has apparently been made available online.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with it, they've also released all this data about streamers. including how much they made per year, per annum. So
Okay.
like 2019 to 2020 and so on and so forth. And the reason I mention this is because we found out who the highest streamer is on Twitch, and it's Critical Role.
That does not surprise me one iota.
Do you know it did surprise me? And it shouldn't have. Like, it's one of those things where I was like...
How many people tune into Critical Role, though? Like...
But I think because it's not a gaming... I know it's like gaming in D&D, but it's not a computer gaming
Yeah,
stream.
were you... Because, like, I think my first guess would have been... I don't know, is it League of Legends? Like,
Yeah, you'd think it'd be like one of
like
those
the
streamers.
official League of Legends channel or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be like either like a... You know, the PewDiePie of Twitch or... You know, whatever it is. And, like, I did... Some of the names I did recognise on there, you know, from like World of Warcraft streamers and things like that. But yeah, Critical Role was at the top, and I was like, it surprised me, but it shouldn't have, for the reasons you said there. Do you want to know how much they took away over a 2-year period? Have a guess.
I mean, I've got a feeling it's going to be a lot lower than it should be.
Okay.
I think I'm guessing wrong here.
Go
Let's go 500,000.
500,000. Okay. They took away just shy of 10 million.
How? How?
I know.
That's insane.
Yep. Not quite such a humble show anymore, is it?
No, it is not. Jeez,
I think what's interesting though, and it is a valid point to take away from it. There were people on that list that are like solo acts. You know, it's one person or a very small group that are taking millions. Critical Role is a business now.
Yeah,
at this
for
point.
sure. It is a full production team. It to me anyway, it looks like it has a similar or the same production quality as a TV show.
Yeah.
So, and gonna say like a TV show that's broadcast on like the BBC is probably costs a bit more than that to make.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it's interesting because I mean that's only one source of their revenue. You know, they've got YouTube, merchandise.
I would have thought that that's a drop in the ocean. Realistically, like if you'd asked me, I'd have thought that their biggest moneymaker was merchandising.
Yeah, it must be.
And then like direct advertising rather than Twitch advertising. Because I know
whenever someone says merchandising, did you ever watch the Spaceballs movie? And there's like the guy that is like merchandising. He's got all the Spaceballs merchandise. That just always pops into my head. Anyway, the reason I brought this up is, aside from it being an interesting point of discussion,
yes,
I just thought it's mind blowing to think that on a platform that was designed for digital gaming, the biggest show is a D&D show.
Yeah,
which I thought was kind of cool. It's like I'm not sure how I feel about the Twitch revenues being leaked. I mean, that's not good. That's people's data. But at the same time, I also kind of think there should be some transparency with this kind of stuff.
Well, to be fair, I'm guessing that Critical Role, and I don't know how they've set themselves up as a company, but I'm almost certain that they will be like I don't know what's the equivalent of limited companies over in the United States. Is it LCCs?
Might be, yeah.
Yeah. I imagine they are that at the least, so they're probably having to submit financial accounts anyway. So for their particular line, I'm sure you could find it out through other public means anyway.
Maybe.
But it sucks for the individuals because that's private information that only the tax man needs to know about.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's a tricky one, but yeah, I thought that was really cool. Like that, we've got. And it just shows you, how much of an impact the gaming community, be it board games, role-playing games, card games, is having on the overall kind of hobby sphere, if you will.
Yeah, the zeitgeist, I believe is the word.
Okay.
Yeah. I can do long words too.
Never said you couldn't. Weird that you feel challenged.
Can do maths. can do words.
Is
The full
this
package,
episode
mate.
just called Things Josh Can Do? As you just display your fundamental talents that you've developed as a 30-something adult.
Can do maths, can do words, can do dishes. You know.
Okay.
Yeah,
What else do we want to talk about?
I haven't been up. I was thinking I haven't been up to much this week. I have, but like limited in gaming capacities. I've had a few games of Magic the Gathering with some friends, including Dan, who has popped in on our Twitch stream. We talked about Twitch, and we should have mentioned our Twitch stream. We've got a Twitch stream. Tom's still streaming Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous. So
It's true.
Check that out. But Dan's popped in on that, and because he's a Twitch streamer as well, and I played a couple of games of Commander against him over the weekend.
Did you win?
Sorry?
Did you win?
I won all of them.
You won all of them.
Yeah, I was
worst.
playing. I was, but I wasn't playing my own decks, like because I didn't think he'd be up for it, so I was just seeing him for like other reasons, just to hang out basically. And he's like, "I want to play Magic the Gathering." I'm like, "Okay, I haven't got any of my own on me, so can I borrow some of yours?" So I was using his stuff. You can't be too mad for me.
Do you think that makes it better? You beat him with his own stuff.
Well, I mean, like what can I say? We're playing a game. The objective of a game is ultimately to win. I'm sorry. You need to have fun as well, but like.
See, that's where we diverge.
Well, you should play. I am of the opinion everyone should be playing to the best of their ability.
But you can play to the best of your ability without playing to win.
Yeah, that just doesn't compute for me.
I saw like your face just kind of freeze there. It was like watching
I'm like, that just makes no sense to me.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying. You're speaking words, but none of it makes sense. No, I think obviously everyone goes into these things with their own expectations, and you're right. Like, I think if you are playing a competitive game, you probably should try to win. But I don't know, it's just never been a big thing for me. I just want to have fun, and
yeah,
winning's nice. It's a good bonus if it happens, but I'd rather just have fun, and then if I win, it's an added bonus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I did get one of the new Commander decks.
Is this from the Innistrad set?
Yeah, I got. It's called Undead Unleashed, and it's a blue-black zombie deck.
I need to get that actually.
Yeah, well, I met because when the leak came out with the deck list, I messaged Tom and I'm like, this seems to be relevant to your interests, and sure enough, it is to the point that I think you've already got a lot of the cards that are in there. But
yeah,
it's still probably worth picking up.
In context, I play Black Zombies, and they're one of my favourite decks in Magic. I actually wanted to get into them sooner than I did, but I used to play in Preston. I lived in Preston for a while, and I played in a store in Preston, and the meta at the time, because this was around the time of Innistrad, the first time round, was Black Zombies, and there were so many people playing them in one format or another that I just didn't want to do it, because I don't like to do the thing that everybody's doing. It kind of spoils it a bit for me.
That's a contrarian.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. So I had to wait until like the fad passed, and then I kind of went back and tried to get all the stuff to make the deck work, which was kind of stupid because at that point it wasn't as easily available. But hey, is what it is.
Well.
Lessons will learn.
But other than that, I have nothing really to report gaming wise at all. I'm sorry. It's just been we were discussing before we hit record, for various reasons we've both had very busy weeks, we will not go into on the recording.
Right, we're still here, we're still recording, we're making content, we're talking in very loose terms about games
and numbers
Don't feel we need to focus there, Josh, but that's fine.
This is why we brought you in. You're supposed to keep me on track. rather than letting me go off talking about.
I don't think that was ever stipulated in my.
Okay, right.
My
Maybe I just thought
package.
that and forgot to mention that to you. I do that sometimes.
It was sort of Ben broke me on, handed me my wage slip, handed me.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. I don't get paid anything. I'm trying to think if I've got any other bits of news. No, I really don't. It's really, really quiet week, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, most of my stuff is house moving stuff. I'm still waiting on a date being confirmed, but it looks like it's going to be end of the month or early November.
That's why our listeners come here, Josh.
I'm just putting into context.
Hear about your house move.
Just put into context.
I better tune into Unlucky Frog on Sunday night. I need to know how Josh's move is coming along.
Right, well, if you're quite done ripping the piss out of me,
Never.
I've got... I knew the answer. I knew that was going to be the answer. Have you seen the new Black Templars box set that is coming out imminently?
No, I have not.
So they're doing a box set. It's kind of similar to the one that came out in the summer for the Beast Snagger Orcs.
Okay.
In that you get a special edition of the Codex, and you get miniatures in it. It's got a really cool miniature in contrast to a lot of the dorky looking Black Templars miniatures. What they've done is, do you remember the cover art for 3rd edition Warhammer 40k?
Yes, the Black Templars cover art. Exactly,
yeah. It's a battle scene, and you've got in the middle and behest on both sides with enemies. You have a unit of Black Templars doing their last man standing thing, and leading them is a Castellan with a humongous axe. They have recreated that guy as a miniature.
Oh, really?
And it looks awesome.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm gonna.
We're gonna get a live reaction from Tom in a moment. Yeah. But just Games Workshop, because I know you listen to us. If you want me to like any miniature, go through your back catalogue of old art and recreate something from it, because that always goes down a treat for me.
I'm just trying to find this.
Tom is trying to find it now. In general, the Black Templars line does not excite me at all, but I just thought that miniature was cool, and it's coming out soon, so that's news.
I will say, one thing Games Workshop have released recently that I really liked the look of was the Nurgle plushie.
Oh my god! Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
I thought that was super cool. I was like, I am here for this. 110%.
Little cuddly Nurgling.
Oh, the army's really small.
It is, and I have context-wise, I have no idea how much that box is going on sale for. It's not an army really. It's like a collection box.
Right. Okay.
Like a start collecting.
Okay. So I found something. And
have you found the guy?
I can't see the guy though. I can see there's the dude holding his sword up in the air, and they're like holding it up on either side. In the
box. Have I spread fake news?
I was gonna say I can see there's two guys holding what look like power swords up. One's holding it up to the right and one to the left. But I'm not seeing anything that mimics the cover art. Could be wrong.
Right, I'm going to Warhammer Community because it'll be on there.
That's where I was.
Oh, well.
I think Josh is spreading weird.
No, I didn't dream this.
Rumors.
I definitely didn't dream this. It evidently doesn't come in that box, but.
Okay. See, I'm intrigued now.
Oh my god! Tell me I didn't dream this. Right.
Oh, I found him.
Thank God. I was starting to get really worried there.
Yep.
So he's not in the box, he's just coming out separately.
Yeah, no, that is really nice actually. Yeah, he's got sort of oh god, he's so bulky. Like he's a big boy.
He looks like he's been finishing his dinners. That's for sure.
But I mean, that's the way the art makes him look as well. Yeah, so he's got the kind of like it's so cool that they've mimicked the art, but it's such an awkward pose because it's mimicked the art as well. So I'm like, I love it, but I also hate it a little bit. So like, I think the model's really cool, and I like the aesthetic they've gone for and all that. But he's holding his axe at an angle that is convenient for the viewer to see that it's a full axe, which doesn't quite look right. But it's still really, really nice.
It's awesome. I just love the over the top sort of skull shoulder pads as well.
He's really like over the top, 100%.
He is like
John
40k back in the day art.
Yeah,
like definitely 3rd edition anyway. None of your bright neon colours of 2nd edition.
Yeah,
so.
If you haven't seen this, I would strongly recommend you go onto Warhammer Community and look at the Black Templars reinforcements are on the way.
We'll post the link.
We will post the link. I actually will say, I know you said you're not keen on them, but I do like the aesthetic of the new Black Templars up to a point. They are very busy, which is something I have an issue with.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the fact that they've given them things that make them look a bit more like Crusaders. You know, they definitely
feel very unique.
Yeah.
Now, with like compared to a lot of the other Space Marine chapters.
Yeah.
It would be nice to see them give some other chapters this kind of treatment.
Well, now, Space Wolves get this kind of treatment.
Space Wolves look quite unique. Well, as like the non-codex compliant chapters, your Space Wolves, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, they have a lot of unique stuff to them.
Mm.
I thought it was quite nice. That particular miniature, just it gave me the warm fuzzies. Thinking back to my childhood of playing 3rd edition 40k.
Well, I remember they did. It's a good while back now. It's probably about 9-10 years ago, and they did the cover of the Rogue Trader, the Imperial Fist.
Yeah, I remember that
as well. Was it the Crimson Fist? I can't remember.
It was a Crimson Fist.
Some sort of fist guy, and he was like
some sort of episode title. Got there.
And he's got like the orc head in his hand, and he's like, and they brought it out as like a proper special edition mini. I had a couple of them, but I don't think I've got any of them now. But that was a really nice model. I really liked that model. The only downside was it was in fine cast.
Ooh.
Yeah. Let it sell.
Well, it'll be all in plastic now, at least.
Well, no, because they want to make it again.
No, but if they were doing it again,
right.
I should have made that more clear.
Yeah, I thought you were like, it's still available. They've made it in plastic. I was like,
no, they have not.
But I remember
they did a reissue of the very first Space Marine as well, as a recreation of the first Space Marine miniature.
Did they?
Yeah, that was a few years back, and they got small now.
Yeah, they're so tiny. Like I remember like the Rogue Trader era Space Marines were all really like hunched and like they had really small shoulder pads. They were all kind of like in this weird like they looked like they were pooping. Like they were all kind of crouched like they were pooping. And like these really hunched looked like you just burst in on them as they were standing up off the toilet. That is the best way I can describe the way these minis looked. And they all kind of leant forward with the guns as well. They look really bad. But if you put them side by side, even with like take Primaris off the table, even with like current gen Space Marines, they were just like super tiny.
Yeah.
And the aesthetics looks completely different. They've come a long way with Space Marines. I think the first step towards bringing them from that design to the current design was when you got them in, I want to say the 2nd edition.
Yes,
Warhammer, and they were in there.
Yeah, well, they had the ones that were in the starter box, which all had which is basically a 2-part sprue.
Yeah.
But you also had the more posable box came out later in 2nd edition. I remember picking that box up.
Yeah.
Distinctly remember it because it had Ultramarines on the front of the box. It was awesome. I love the original Chaos Space Marines because unlike modern day designs for the various Chaos flavored stuff, which have quite a obviously like a demonic flavor to it, but there's a uniformity to it. There's certain themes that they stick to aesthetically.
Yeah.
The original ones was just like, let's just throw everything at them and see what sticks. It's like, you got a dude with 2 tentacles and a dog's head. You got a guy with a fly's head and crab hands. Like, just, it was insane.
Yeah, they were crazy models at that point in time. They really were like, let's give these guys, like, all the spikes. Like, any spikes you find, put them on here, and let's just give them the most random appendages as mutations as well. They were nice models, though. Like, I actually like a lot of the older Chaos Space Marine range.
I have a fondness for a lot of old ranges in general. Like, just it's, and I am aware that it's nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of nostalgia, but I think there's something quite charming and unique about those miniatures that were hand sculpted, as opposed to nowadays it is very heavily computer assisted design. They look amazing, don't get me wrong, but I think there's a little bit of soul went into the hand sculpted stuff, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you can see that little bit of personality. Like if you look at old models like Noise Marines, like the classic Noise Marines, and things like that, like they're very flat because they were done in a time where they couldn't really do anything beyond that, especially with your metal stuff. But there's so many little bits of personality that they're understated almost, but they're very much present there, and you can see kind of the artist's hand at work.
If for folks on Facebook, I recommend finding Trish Carden, her business page on Facebook, because she was one of the sculptors from back in the day of Games Workshop.
Okay.
And she posts a lot of photographs of her work from back when she was doing it in like the late 80s into the 90s, and some of her later work for Games Workshop. And I want to say she left them about 10 years ago.
Right.
I can't mind, because she worked a lot on some of the Fantasy Forge World stuff, so I've seen her cover that. But the one she posted this week was the original metal Stegodon for the Lizardman range, which came out when my brother and I were just getting into Warhammer Fantasy. We just got for Christmas the big box that had Bretonnians and Lizardmen in as well. So
I remember that box.
Yeah, that was quite. Oh, I remember that mini.
Do you know what my favourite... It wasn't a single model, it was a pack. But my favourite classic model were the Eldar Striking Scorpions.
Oh yeah, they were quite
so
cool.
Nice. Like, and I remember my first ever army was Eldar just because of those models. Like all the aspect warriors especially were really good back then. Like, you know, you had the Striking Scorpions, the Warp Dragons, I think they were called, and all the different ones as well. But they were
is it not Warp Spiders?
Warp Spiders, that's it.
Yeah.
They were also like characterful, and even like, although the Striking Scorpions were quite flat, because again they were done in that era of kind of flat models, they managed to make them as characterful as they could, just to make them kind of pop on the battlefield a little bit. Oh, and the Howling Banshees as well, they were a nightmare to put together. Yeah, I remember it. All coming back to me now.
Yeah. I mean, my favourite, I've spoke about it previously, my favourite old miniatures range, and so someone in the comment sections just go, oh, that's not that old. It is that old. It was late 90s. That was a long time ago now, unfortunately. But I love the original Gorka Morka model line. Those orcs had so much character crammed into them, and the vehicles were just great.
Do you know, like, the thing with the Gorka Morka models, and just the entire range really, was they looked fun and they had a lot of character, but they were so badly designed. Like do you remember the tiny bases they had?
I have no idea why they did that. No, I do know why they did that, because there was a mechanic in that game where you had to try and physically cram as many orcs onto your vehicle as possible.
Yeah, and if your models fell off the vehicle on the board, they fell off.
Now, was that Gorkamorka or was that not Rogue Trader?
I'm sure that's Gorkamorka
as
well.
Is it Gorkamorka
I'm sure
as well?
you were allowed to have as many models as you could fit on the truck.
Could pile them on top of each other.
But if they fell off, they counted as falling off and took a strength 3 hit. Because I remember one of my friends at the time, because we played Gorkamorka to death, and one of my friends at the time had one of the orc trucks with the flatbed at the back, and he physically extended it. Like he added, because there was nowhere in the rules that said you couldn't do it, which is the thing with Gorkamorka. So
nothing to say that a dog can't play Gorkamorka.
Exactly. So he physically extended the back of this truck, and he added like an extra 50% on, and then he piled all these boys next. He only had the one truck in his gang. He piled all these boys onto this truck, and I vividly remember him overbalancing it at the back, and the entire thing just tipping up and basically dumpstering all his boys off the back of the truck. And we were like, that's 10 strength 3 hits to all of them, and he had to roll them all and stuff. That was great. But what I loved about Gorkamorka, and I know we're getting off track here, was you had...
Was there a track to begin with?
Well, that's fair. In between sessions, you could go to the mech's workshop, and you could upgrade your trucks, but you could upgrade your weapons as well. And I remember I played Rebel Grots, and Rebel Grots were Grots that had rebelled against the Orcs and kind of outcast themselves from Orc society to be free Grots rather than what they were to the Orcs. And you could go to the Mech Boys workshop still, but you had a chance of getting captured or killed, or it was not a good time for you. And I had this one Grot, and it was a model I adored. It was a little Grot, and he had a little pistol. He was just holding it out in front of him with 2 hands and pointing it. And it was what was effectively a las pistol, right? It was nothing special. And after every game, I would send him to the Mech Boys workshop and get his pistol upgraded. And I just kept upgrading the strength of this pistol. But as you upgraded past a certain point, you started to get detrimental effects to everything else. So if you upgraded your strength past a certain point, your range would start to decrease, and your accuracy would start to decrease. And it got to a point where he could only shoot this pistol 3 inches. He had to roll a 6 to hit with it. If he rolled a 1, 2, or a 3, it blew up. But if it hit you, it was effectively as strong as a las cannon.
Oh my god!
And he would one-shot people with this pistol, but you were odds were it probably wouldn't even hit. And if he did, it was...
Well, I mean, particularly with your dice rolling.
Yeah. But the times it hit, it was good.
Yeah.
It was worth it. For every penny was worth it for that.
I want to play Gorkamorka.
I really want them to release it again.
It's got to be on the cards, right?
You would hope.
It's got to be somewhere on a drawing board in Nottingham, I
don't know if it was that popular, though. I know with its fans, it had a really loyal community, a bit like Mordheim and things like that as well. It had a very dedicated community who adored it, but it didn't get as much love as I think people think it did. It only really got 2 expansions, and Digger Knob was a big one, and I think it had some smaller expansions as well, or a smaller expansion. But it didn't get as much love as I think people thought it did. So maybe...
The nice thing is, at least with the model range for Orcs for 40k, you can easily do it.
That's right.
True. And it would look amazing now as well.
Looks so good.
Maybe not quite as goofy and charming as the original models. But...
I think the biggest issue you'd have with it is the Orcs now are so big that you're not going to get that. If you have 10 Orc boys, they take up a good chunk of space.
You're probably going to need to drop the rule of trying to cram as many physically onto the vehicle as possible. I think that would have to be compromised, but it could be done for sure.
I think we should. I think we should do a streamed episode of Tom and Josh play Gorkamorka, and we'll get the rules and we'll make a gang.
Yeah, I'll be up for that.
Paint them up, and then just try and play a game we haven't played for 25 years.
Let's do it. Watch this space, guys. I think with that note, we'll draw this episode to a close. So, as always, thank you very much for listening, and until next time, take care.
Bye.
Bye.